Hey, it's Monday, June 1st, 2020, and this is the Pro and Con Show, and I'm your host, Michael James Hoff, just as it says there on the tablet. Welcome to the show. So the show is intended to encourage us to be better citizens, to ferret out the truth, which is the pro and the con, the good and the bad, the for and against. And I'm doing a series of shows. I was actually, as in the last show I described, I was off for a couple of months. A lot of things going on with the pandemic, and there's a lot going on in my life. So, but I'm committed to finishing this out from here on out. So June 1st through November 3rd, here we go. I'm going to do one of these every single day, 10 or 15 minutes, and post it here on Facebook Live and also on the YouTube channel. So people will be able to find them. May just be family members someday if the COVID-19 ends up getting me, which could happen. Then at least there'll be some videos of me and, you know, what I stand for, what I think, what I believe, and I hope a fair amount of the love and appreciation of that I have for my family, friends, neighbors, and all of you out there will come through. Anyway, so this show and the following shows here this first week in June is birthday week for me. So I'm going to be about to be 59 years old. And that's roughly then 6 decades, just shy of 6 decades. And I'm going to talk about those 6 decades, one decade at a time. So this show is called Life, Years 1 to 10. And so I grew up, and again, I'm just going to give you this off the top of my head. There's no script or anything. So I was born in Ottawa, Illinois. And I grew up in this little town called Grand Ridge, Illinois, which is 8 miles south of there. Middle of the cornfields out in northern Illinois. And let's see here. We didn't have a lot of money. We had I'm not going to say that we were really, 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 really poor. I mean, there were certainly people that were far off or far worse off than we were. I'm the last of 6 kids. Very fortunate that my parents, they had 6 children, and generally, it was a very good environment. Generally, of course, we fought and argued over various things. I mean, we're family and kids and stuff, and we're people, and we do that. But the reality is that the siblings that I had and I've had the pleasure of living with and experiencing, wow, they've been really great. And so we're one of those fortunate families where, all 6 of the kids have been, done okay for themselves and been contributing members of society and no significant health or physical health or mental health issues or criminal activity or anything like that. So I was the last of 6 kids, and that time frame from 1 to 10. So by the time I'm born, my mom, and by the way, I'm a mistake. So the first group of kids, the first 4 kids are like in a 5-year period. Then there's another brother, just older than me, and he's 3 or 4 years after them, and then I'm another 3.5 years after that brother. So, and I mentioned that to my mother once. I was like, well, why is that? Why was it? And she's like, well, you were a mistake. We love you anyway. But anyway, so last of 6 kids. Well, by the time, I'm a small child, my oldest siblings are, quite old. And my mother actually, routinely asked them to babysit me and stuff like that. And that was the norm. And so I want to say a little bit about my first memories. So the first memories I have, I must have been around 2 and a half. And there were two different things. So one is the next older brother was going off to school for the first time. And I remember that because it was, a beautiful morning. It was kind of crisp. I remember him walking down the sidewalk and walking toward the corner. We were very, very close to the grade school. The town that we lived in has a grade school. And, oh gosh, it's, I don't know, maybe a 10-minute walk, not even that, probably about a 10-minute walk from our house. So my brother was walking to school, and I remember him turning the corner and starting to walk down the street out of sight behind one of the neighbors' homes, and being very upset because he was leaving and I couldn't go with him. And I don't remember, somebody was holding me back, saying, "Oh, sorry, you can't go." And I don't know who that somebody was, whether that was one of my parents or one of my siblings. I don't remember. But I do remember, I can vividly see the green grass and remember the cool air, and it being quiet for the most part. It was morning, birds chirping in the air, trees and so on. And then that same time frame, it was just a couple months later, and John Kennedy was assassinated. And I remember standing in the living room of the home that we lived in, and we had I want to say it was like a 25-inch black and white TV, console TV. And I remember standing there, and all the other people were much bigger and taller than me. And I remember standing there kind of amongst their legs and looking at the TV, and then just kind of hearing them talk, and the sadness. And I remember watching there was a horse-drawn carriage with a coffin and the U.S. flag. And so I'm pretty sure that was live coverage of his funeral back in around November, I guess, of 1963. So those are the earliest memories. And then grade school, gosh, I don't know. We had some friends staying with us, and we were talking about, the cereals that talking about cereal. Captain Crunch was one of my favorite cereals, life cereal, but with lots of sugar on it. Let's see here. What was another one? It's not important, but we used to eat cereal all the time. That was the big thing in the morning. Of course, you'd have these bowls of cereal. That was like the norm in our house. Let's see here. What else happened? So that was grade school. So I was never a person that had a lot of friends. I was always one of these people that had, a fairly small number of tight, very close friends. So like a handful. And we hung out in the grade school, and I do remember the town. So the town of Grand Ridge is a pretty small town, and even the roads and stuff are not wide or anything like that. They're fairly narrow. But I remember when I was a kid, it seemed like it was big. And back then, we could go anywhere. So, hop on our bikes, we'd be all over the place. And my mother would just come out on the front porch and yell, "Hey, it's dinner time." And that's how big the town was. You pretty much could hear her no matter where you were. We could come home for dinner, that kind of stuff. But I remember I was really struck by how big the town felt and how big the houses and everything felt when, you're 5, 6, 7 years old. And now, of course, when I go back there as an adult, and we go back periodically, my mother still lives there. It's like, wow, these houses and the streets and everything, the whole town, it's way smaller, way smaller than what it felt like when you were a kid. And I don't really have, I had nice teachers and stuff like that. I don't really have, although I will say, so the grade school was great. I think the teachers and the facility and everything were great. and I really liked my grade school experience. Oh, so I'll tell you the story. Yeah, so I'll finish with this because this is kind of so in this time frame, 0 to 10, there was a girl, and she liked me. So we're 7, 8 years old, 9 years old, and she had kind of a crush on me. And she's one of these people that has kind of a nervous stomach. So apparently she liked me enough that when she would get closer to me, it would kind of make her nervous, and she'd throw up, usually on me. And so when I was in grade school, I had there was in the principal's office, there was a filing cabinet, and one of the drawers in the filing cabinet had a space in it for my spare clothes, because this was a regular event. And for a period of 2 or 3 years there, age 1 to 10, I would get thrown up on 2, 3, 4 times a year. And I remember Mrs. Ingram was the office assistant. I guess they call them secretaries back then, but she was the office assistant. And I'd come in, and I'd have vomit on me, and oh, yeah, I think people called me Mickey back then. I think they did too. Oh, Mickey, did she throw up on you again? Like, yeah, she did. So I'd trudge in there, and I'd get out my bag of emergency clothes, go change clothes, and take the dirty ones home, and bring a fresh set the next day. So I'd be ready for the next thing. And what's so funny is that it wasn't just her, though. There was a really good friend of mine, and we were getting ready for one of these Christmas things. So we're singing Christmas carols, and we're up on this staging, and I'm on a lower tier, and one of my good friends is behind me on one tier up, and we're singing whatever Christmas carol, and all of a sudden, boo! He throws up all over me. I don't know, something about his breakfast or maybe he's getting the flu or something. I don't know, but he threw up on me. And there were some other cases across the years, and then I'll skip forward many years, because I remember telling this story to people about how much I've been thrown up on, and I was telling my college buddies. So this, fast forward here some years, and I'm in college, and I've told my college friends about this. And we were freshmen, and we would go to this bar, and we were drinking, and not far from where we were in Champaign, Illinois, was Shunit Air Force Base, and there was one of the privates from the Air Force was there in the bar, and he had drank too much, and this place is packed. I mean, this is just wall-to-wall people, and he's in there. And all of a sudden, I'm standing, I'm talking to my friends, and I'm sipping on a beer or whatever, and I just out of the peripheral vision here, I see like people like spreading apart, and here comes this guy, and I go to get away. There's nowhere for me to go. I mean, I'm trapped. I'm it, and boom, he pukes all over me. Oh well, such is life, and such is life from years 1 to 10. All right, so my few minutes is up for this decade. I'll do from 11 to 20 tomorrow, and until then, this has been the Pro and Con Show. I'm your host, Michael James Ott. Please be better citizens. Remember the pro and the con, the good and the bad, the for and against. And until the next show, bye for now.